Hello. I'm making a couple of different videos in a row, and I just wanted to go ahead and address this is I am a little under the weather, trying to get over whatever cold or whatever I had. So my apologies, it's sounding meh. And if I didn't respond to you quickly enough over the past few days, I'm quickly getting better, but still not perfect. Um, So, a couple of different things I'm going to be making videos about, and those are going to be coming soon. This very first one I'm making, however, is I consider one of the most important ones, and it has to do with grades. Um, I've had a few people from the beginning of the term come up to me and ask about their grade, mostly for the discussions. And I've had people well, the first person who came up to me thought that I had taken away points for us not agreeing or me stating something in a reply and them trying to prove me wrong. I actually made a video about it a few weeks back, and I even provided my evidence for why I said what I did. That's beside the point. What I want to make sure is crystal clear, because my in-person classes, I say it all the time. My online classes, I keep saying it, but I can't control when people don't watch videos or don't read what I post. Um, you are 100% entitled to your own opinion. I do not expect us all to agree. I personally think that's what makes the world a better place, is that not everybody does agree. I am very opinionated, and I state nonstop when it is my opinion, and I state when something is a fact. I try really hard to be clear on this. That is also why I have a grading rubric for absolutely everything, because your grade should not be affected by whether or not we agree. That is why I have the grading rubric. I am aware some people do not even look at how they got graded. Some might read my feedback and then decide that I penalize them because we don't agree. Or some might not even read the feedback. They just look at their grade and then get mad. So I am imploring everyone, and for any of you who watch this and know other people in the class who obviously don't watch these, please help them with this concept, because this is not just for my class. This is for every future class you take. Knowing how to look at a grading rubric and how it affects your grade is extremely important for your academic success. So I'm going to take a moment to show you this. Um, okay. I am going to do where it shows everything on the desktop so that's up, you can see it. So say that you are in section 7. I am here as a student. So this is literally what your site should look like. If you go up here to assessment and click it, there is a thing here that says rubrics. Click that. That will show you every possible rubric. This that says 2-week fully engaged, this is how all of your discussions are graded. If you click this, you can see how it's graded. A lot of people lose their points by not posting their first post when they're supposed to. Notice you lose a chunk of points just by being late. Then this one is how often you are active. There are a lot of people who are not active the way they're supposed to be. These two are 100% in your control. If you don't like the grade you're getting, make sure you're following these rules. Answer topic. This is the only area that can be affected by, well, let me rephrase that. This is one of the only areas that can be affected by what you say. This one is literally about, and it says right here, fully answering the topic. If it looks like you kind of answered it, you actually made an effort, and I recognize you made an effort, you're going to get half points. This is for people who do it on the very last day and write like 3 sentences, and they obviously are not answering the topic. Sometimes there is confusion about the topic. You are supposed to research it. So that is where this falls under. Critical thinking. Literally show me that you're thinking. There are a lot of people who put zero thought into it. It's like they copy paste stuff, or, and I'm going to go off about this one in a moment, use chat or some kind of AI generator thing in order to do their discussion. And I wrote these discussions. I know they're not going to come out properly when you use that. I can tell when you're using that. And some people, I straight up tell you that in your response. I don't have a spot on here because it is not infallible. I cannot 100% prove you used it. I can just tell you I suspect it. So even if I suspect you are using AI to do your discussion, there's nowhere in here to lose points for it. People lose points because they're not actually properly answering it. The critical thinking, you have to display that you have thought something through. That means you're making a statement, you're showing the fact, and you're telling me how that train of thought goes. It is not just stating something. You have to show me you have thought it through. And a lot of people are not doing this. Thoughts and opinions. A lot of people lose points on this. I don't care what your opinion is. That's your opinion, but you have to back it up. That's what I've said nonstop. Notice for full points, clearly stated, not hinted around, not passive aggressively said it, not, oh, I can see this side and that side. Clearly say it. I know I've responded to quite a few people to be loud and proud. If it's truly what you think, say it with authority, but you have to back it up with a fact. So an example for this, a horrible example, my apologies, would be if I said, I believe that the sky at sunset is, actually, I wouldn't even say I believe. I would say something like, when I am watching the sunset, the sky turns an amazing shade of, I don't know, yellow. Then that's fine if that's what I think. Why do I think that? I would need to back it up, like about the light and the way it reflects and things like that. For a politics class, you have to actually look at the sources. You have to back up. You can say, I absolutely love Trump. You can say, I absolutely hate Trump, but then you have to explain why. You can't just make a statement and that's it. So you can tell me whatever you want and you have to back it up. Or you can clearly tell me what you think and you forget to back it up. So you lose points for that, but you still get credit for telling me what you think. Did not clearly state thoughts and opinions. If at no point in your post can I find where you clearly stated what you thought or how you felt about something, you can't get points. That's why I have said from the very beginning, clearly stated. If you look at other people's posts, you'll see some people got it. They're right. They will literally write my thoughts at the bottom and then tell me. Okay. Content and interaction. This one again, totally up to you. You have to interact, respond to at least 3 people. Some people think that's annoying. They're not going to do it to 3. Your prerogative, but you're going to lose points. The rules are at least 3 people. I have also said, do not do things like, I agree. Wow, well written, or anything like that. I define that as a fluff answer. Notice it tells you that right here. If you interacted with 3 people and 2 of them were really good, but one of them you did one of those throwaway I agree responses, you're still going to get decent points. Mostly people lose points here because they don't respond to anybody. They respond to one person, or they just do that I agree. That is what the Constitution says. You have to actually say something, not just an I agree. And I promise you, a lot of you, if you read the feedback, have gotten feedback from me that says, please stop saying I agree. All right, here we go. This is where a lot of people lose points, is these last 2. Written properly. That means you're capitalizing things you're supposed to. You're checking for typos. You have paragraphs. It looks like a college person wrote this. It is not supposed to be a paper. It is you talking, but you still have to write correctly. If you have minimal issues, like one of the biggest ones people have issues with is giving me actual paragraphs, then you're going to get half credit. If you have a lot of issues and it makes it really hard for me to read, or if you use Wikipedia as a source, you get 0 here. Wikipedia is not a valid source. I covered it at the beginning of the term. It's been on this rubric for every single discussion. So if you use Wikipedia, automatically going to get 0s on the spot. And then our final one is sources. I tell you, you have to have valid sources. I specify this. I tell you, and again, right here, it tells you again that you have to indicate which source goes with which fact. You cannot write a couple of paragraphs and then slap a bunch of links to the bottom. That's not telling me what goes where. You have to specify which source goes with which fact. Otherwise, none of it counts. And that's where a lot of people are losing points. And I have done videos about it. I have said it. I have put it on feedback so many times. And people keep losing points here. Notice again, this one also says used Wikipedia as a source. So these two, automatically you get 0 if you used Wikipedia as a source, because again, Wikipedia is not a valid source. So this is the thing you really need to pay attention to. I'm going to close that out. When you do your discussion and when I grade it, I don't even look at names of people. I open the rubric and I follow that. The first thing I do is I look at when you made your first post. Then I look at how many different days you posted. That's the first 2 parts. Then I look at how many people you replied to. And then I look at the replies. Then I also read your post. I've asked very similar discussions for years. There's only been slight changes here and there. Normally it has to do with like a news story that I put on there, because how the government is supposed to be run hasn't really changed much. We have the foundations. And so a lot of our stuff is very similar. It's set to match your textbook. And the only new things normally tend to be current events that I try to tie in. So you're actually learning about what's happening right now. My class, the 2 in-person classes today, got a nice long talk about how I know a lot of people think I'm just doing the whole Trump bashing thing. Let me be clear. I also did a Biden bashing thing. And for my environmental science classes back in the day, I also did an Obama bashing thing. I am being critical of the current administration. What happened before this administration? Feel free to talk about it if you want to, but that's not the topic, because I am talking about the current administration. If you cannot look critically at the current administration, no matter who it is, what side it's on, or who you are not being a critical thinker. You can think Trump is the most magnificent person on the planet. That's fine. That is your choice. But you can't refuse to look at a fact. You can think Trump is the most horrible person on the planet. Again, your choice, your opinion. That is fine. But you can't state things without a fact. So, no one's grade is being affected by having a different opinion. I purposely make my grading rubric to protect from that. You just need to make sure you're following with the instructions that are given. That's why the grading rubric's there. It is to make sure that you are getting the points you earn. The person I spoke about at the very beginning, it was a really nice person. And I think we had a good talk about it. And it was really just, it was not understood how to follow the rubric. And the person told me how busy they are and they don't have time to do all that. And I told them that that is fine. That is totally on you. These are the parameters for how you earn your grade. Whether or not you do them, that's on you. That's why it's a rubric. I don't just willy-nilly assign points. I keep myself set to a standard of rules, which is literally how our government is supposed to be set up. That's why it's very specific. So if you do not like the grades you're getting, look at the rubric, look at your personal rubrics. Every single discussion, I fill out a rubric for you. You should be able to access it. If you cannot access it, email me, message me through Brightspace. We'll work it out. We'll find a way to make sure you can see it, because if you don't see the feedback, you don't know how to improve. And I can't just email everybody and scream and yell and say, look at the feedback. All I can do is literally what I'm doing. I have a very specific set of rules. I stick by those very specific set of rules, and I provide you the feedback to help you get a better grade if your grade is not perfect. Now, on the flip side, a good deal of you have already discovered I give extra points randomly. If you go above and beyond, you get extra points. If you showed me outstanding critical thinking skills, you get points, like extra points. If you have done good, solid replies to more people, or you are just so thorough in your replies, I'll give you extra points. There are a lot of people who, if you actually looked at your grading rubric, you'll see you're losing points for basic things, but you're still getting extra points for other things. And so it's doing like this. But I want to make sure you know that. Now, good God, the AI thing. I am, yeah, I think I'm going to use this exact thing for 3 of my online classes. 2 are the American government, 1 is global. One of my American government classes, I would say probably at least 3/4 of you are just slamming it through AI and not even reading what you're turning in. And I know there's a lot of people who got upset with me probably for the climate change one. I had very specific things I was requesting from there. I am also an environmental science teacher. This is a topic I know very well, which is why I even put in there that climate change is not the part up for debate. It is a fact. It is a fact. It is not a political topic. It is used in a lot of political things, which is why it's in this class, but it is not a politics thing. It is a scientific fact. I specified in that discussion to talk about the changes and the EPA and everything from January 20th, 2025 and forward, because that is our current administration. That is the date that we transitioned from Biden to Trump. So we are looking at current topics. The EPA has undergone a lot of changes. Again, I said specifically what to cover. So many of you used chat or some other AI and let it generate your answers and copy and pasted it into the discussion. And it did nothing but talk about the Biden administration. No, you're not going to get points for that because that's not covering the topic specified. So if you're going to cheat and use some kind of AI generator to write your discussions, either don't be surprised when you lose a lot of points because you're not answering the questions, or actually stop being a lazy cheater. Read through what it says, look back at your discussion, see what the questions were, see if it actually answered the discussion, and then write it yourself. Everybody in my classes are going to college. Presumably, you're going to college for an education. It is not just learning the actual subject. It is learning how to think, not to think like somebody else, not being told what to think, just being taught how to think. Because you cannot be a successful person if you never think for yourself. This is why I have said quite a few times, and I actually have gotten a lot of feedback, believe it or not, from various students this term for making it clear that it is okay to have your own opinion. I want to always make sure that's clear. I am in no way, shape, or form telling you what your opinion is or telling you what to think. I am telling you, you have to think. I am trying to help you learn how to think. I am forcing you to find an opinion because a lot of our topics, chances are you've never thought about. That's on purpose. It is to teach you how to think about it, how to research it, and how to come up with your own decision, your own opinion, your own thought. That is why, if again, the rubric says clearly stated and backed it up, it says critical thinking. At no point in that rubric does it say agrees with me because quite frankly, I find that boring. I have had enough students who try to say exactly what they think I want to hear, and it's boring. I don't like that. I value those of you who have a different opinion than me. It helps me check myself. Um, that's part of why I push the discussions. I would love to not have no weekly or bi-weekly discussions because let me tell you, you think it's annoying to write? Do you have any idea what it's like to grade all of these? I don't have just one section. So I am reading a lot. And the more responses I get that are obviously AI generated, the angrier I get. So those of you who are like the end of the alphabet for your last name, I do apologize because you get more of my ire at that point than anybody else because I am just livid because I expect people to use their own brain. So if I haven't been crystal clear, at no point is anyone losing even half a point for not agreeing with me. You just have to be loud and proud and back it up with a fact. That's my thing because everybody has an opinion, but there's a difference between opinion and educated opinion. That's what I'm requiring of you in this class, educated opinion. So again, if you've never thought about a topic or you've just seen a TikTok on it or your dad or preacher or boss or sister, best friend, whatever, made a comment and you decided you based all of your opinions on that comment, that's not an educated opinion. You have to learn how to look things up and think critically. Um, I feel like I've just gone on and on and on about this, but I want to make sure it's very, very clear. So if you watch this and if you have any questions about how a discussion's been graded, first look back at your discussion, see if you can access the grading rubric. If you cannot see your personal graded rubric that tells you why you lost points, contact me. We'll work it out. If you have any questions, contact me. We'll figure it out. I think that's it. So now I need to talk about other things. I was trying to decide if I was just ending the video. Yeah, so I hope that clarifies everything. And again, if you have any questions, please, please, please contact me. I want to make sure that no one thinks that they are being silenced or punished for their personal opinion because that is not okay. Nobody should treat anyone different for their own opinion. But I also think everybody should hold everyone else accountable for finding out or defending your opinion. I guess defending is a better one. If no one questions you, you never learn. And that's a fact. So I guess that's what I'm going to end this one on. If you do not care for my opinion or you don't understand why I got the opinion I did, ask me. That's literally what the discussions are supposed to be about. People who don't agree asking questions to help clarify. It's not just filling space. It's not just for a grade. It's I'm trying to get all of you to educate yourselves and see different sides so we can all actually live in harmony because I'm a big old hippie. So there you go. That's it. Peace out.